to see themselves as sources, as places which from which ideas originate. I really like that part because and then you go on to say being personal means bringing their judgments and interpretations to bear on what they read and write, learning that they never leave themselves behind, even in writing academic essays. I just really like that because for me, the way I used to write in high school, I used to never bring myself into the paper. I would always just only be citing texts and using quotes and only talking about other things and never really bringing myself into the piece. And I really like that idea that I kind of have a say in what's going on, and just the idea that you know, the dictionaries of their lives. Like I love that idea.
Yeah,
you know, thinking of all the things that I've learned, bringing them together in a piece is great.
And I think this is what this piece represented to me, was a lot of these themes, a lot of these, you know, bringing together a lot of the sort of dictionaries of my life together. And there's a lot of, and maybe some of you will, this will resonate with you. I think there's a lot of schooling that suggests, even though I think it doesn't mean to say so, which is this, you know, leave yourself outside, or, you know, you're not the place from which sources originate, but that, you know, the library is, or the sources are. And so I think that sense that actually ideas come from us and that ideas make sense because they resonate with something that we read is important. And it's especially important as you are first-year students at this great university, which is to not just be recorders or reporters of other people's information, but to really, you know, when you approach a subject, to be able to ask a question you don't have an answer to about it, to be able to find a gap, something that doesn't make sense to you, and not to have, I mean, I think sometimes the students feel this burden of creativity that, you know, as if you need to be, you know, have an idea that's a Nobel Prize winning idea, but it doesn't. That's not how knowledge works. You know, knowledge just builds on knowledge piece by piece, and if you ask a question that other people haven't asked, that's where your paper begins.
Yeah, I also liked how, like, even like kind of going with that is how, like, you talked about even when you first started reading Emerson, how like the things that stood out for you is like you talked about how you said like books are for the scholars idle time, and like that kind of gave you permission to go like into the world. But then how like even later you like progressed from that and started like underlining like one must be an adventure to read well.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's, you know, what was so much fun about this piece was that it brought together so many pieces, you know, so many sources of my life, and so it was nice to just try to be able to see a pattern in these sources.
There was a part towards the beginning when you were talking about your academic